And ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
I'm Jay Reef.
And today is our third entry into our top 50 in no particular order, apart from number one, Twilight Zone rundown, spanning multiple seasons and multiple episodes. These are our 50 favorites in no particular order. Previously, we have had two from season one. We are now jumping. I've chosen in organizing and scheduling these to jump around a lot. And so we're now jumping to season 5 of the Twilight Zone. Not really any major changes to discuss here. Not in the sense of like the hour-long episodes in season 4 or in season 2, where a couple of the episodes are shot on video instead of film. This feels like just a regular 25-minute entry into the Twilight Zone canon as we know it. And it is, of course, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, and it is one of the most iconic episodes of the show, and one of the best, really, one of the scariest, one of the most unnerving boy cried wolf stories the show ever did. Jay, you messaged me this morning or whenever it was saying it's well, I want to get the exact wording. You put fun episode to watch at 2:30 for someone with a mild phobia of flying. I didn't know this about you, Jay, that you have a mild phobia of flying.
It's small. It's not a big thing. When I was younger, a boy, I hate flying.
Yeah. Was it because you were worried of a gremlin on the wing, or?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yes, this episode follows William Shatner as Bob Wilson, and it's written by Richard Matheson and directed by Richard Donner. And the episode follows a man who has just come out, I believe it's 6 months is mentioned, a 6 month term at some sort of psychiatric ward following a mental breakdown on a plane. And now he is on the plane home with his wife, Julia Wilson, played by Christine White, who was previously in the episode The Prime Mover, which is a good little episode. We're not going to touch on it in this 50-run series, but it's a good little episode. And she was also James Dean's girlfriend for, I think, 4 years or so in the 50s, before he died, obviously, not after. What about when people say, like, before he died? No, it was after he died. What a stupid... Jay, have you? Was this one of the pre-watches? Was this a fresh watch? What did you know of Nightmare at 20,000 Feet?
This was a fresh watch, although I did know the premise generally because it is a very popular and well-known episode. And so you may speak.
This is one of the ones that is remade in the film that we're also not touching on. The film is mixed for me. Obviously, it's plagued and martyred by the horrible tragedy on set, taking the life of Vic Morrow and those 2 children, or 3 children. I can't remember. I think it was 2. That whole scandal. The greatest part of the film is the opening with Albert Brooks and Dan Aykroyd. I watch that at least once a year. That's very, very good and very, very scary. And then the second best part is probably the George Miller directed section that remakes Nightmare at 20,000 Feet and takes it to 11. John Lithgow is truly unhinged. The gremlins are tiny little, these tiny little... Say again?
Maybe I have seen that part of the film. I feel like I remember seeing it as a kid. Now that you're describing John Lithgow and a bunch of tiny gremlins on a plane.
I mean, it's yeah. There's a very funny. There's a Third Rock from the Sun episode, which was John Lithgow's sitcom, as well as many other people. And William Shatner was once in an episode, and they make a joke how they were both on planes with Gremlins. It's very funny. Are you a Gremlins fan, Jay? The film Gremlins.
Yeah, I am. When I was a kid, it was my favorite film, and I'd watch it almost every week.
That's a very good choice, Jay.
Yeah, I loved it.
I love Gremlins. What a great film. And so that's kind of a bit where I know a lot of the mythology and lore around Gremlins being not just these monsters, but these things, this myth during the war of, these creatures that would tear up the planes and ruin the machinery. There's the wonderful bit in the film Gremlins where Dick Clark is saying, back in the war, there were these gremlins, and they and then obviously he meets his end, unfortunately. But is alive again in Gremlins 2. He gets brought. He's back.
It's been so long since I watched Gremlins. Oh my god, I need to.
Well, we are recording this coming up to the Christmas season, Jay. It's Christmas is upon us. A perfect time to return to the world of Gremlins. As we did last week with Where Is Everybody, set using the same studio lot as Gremlins and Back to the Future.
Yep.
Again, I think I've more or less said this for every one of the episodes we've done so far, and I feel like it's just something that can sort of be said for all of them, is that it strives in its simplicity. This is a very simple tale. It's very well written by Richard Matheson in just a general structure way of things. She sees it, comes to his wife doesn't believe him, sees it again. The slow ramping tension of this. One of my favorite parts is when the pilot tries to trick him.
Yeah.
And he's going, oh, no, of course. And Shatner's click and realize, oh, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'd rather see this plane crash than continue talking to you, which is probably what I would do. I'm a very stubborn person.
Yeah.
As you well know, Jay.
Fantastic episode.
Yeah, me, very good.
Like, I really, 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 really enjoyed it last night. I think I was just in the perfect headspace and mood to watch it at 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's a really spooky, great. Well, I've talked about this before. We watched it one night after a party, a group of people, and that first jump scare of him being at the window, multiple people went, literally, it still works. And yeah, when you look at the pictures of the gremlin, it's like this, kooky panda. That's Richard Matheson's biggest problem with the adaptation, actually, is that he thinks they did a really good job, but he thinks it looks like a big panda bear. And he envisioned this more humanoid. Let me get how he described it. Yeah, he wanted a creepy, dark, nearly invisible humanoid figure. But this is this thing, he complained, looked more like a panda bear. Richard Matheson also wrote Nick of Time, an episode we will be talking about, which is another William Shatner one. A lot more just talking, a lot more conversation based. And originally they wanted Patricia Breslin, who played William Shatner's wife in that episode, to play his wife in this episode. But people, the studio heads, thought it would be too distracting. I want to talk about Richard Donner, the recently deceased Richard Donner, who passed earlier this year, director of all the Lethal Weapon movies, as well as Superman and Superman 2, Scrooged, one of my favorite Christmas movies. Well, no, one of my favorite movies of all time, as well as the wonderful Omen film. He died 91 earlier this year. He directed a bunch of Twilight Zone episodes, and this is probably his best. This is where I think his direction shines through. There are multiple times where, Twilight Zone had its own set of conventions, but the conventions of a 50, well, no, this is 63, but the conventions of a late 50s, early 60s TV drama, in the way that they were shot back then, there are multiple times, especially when the window breaks and the big zooms and just the effects of it all. This was one of the episodes, again shot in 2 days. Incredible.
How did they do all the exterior shots of the plane?
So basically, it was in MGM Studios. They have a tank, which they use for extreme weather scenes or underwater scenes. And basically, they put the prop plane that they have at MGM, they put that in there, and loads of wind machines and loads of rain and just all practical effects.
I thought it looked fantastic.
It looks incredible. And the fact that we're both watching on Blu-ray and it really still looks good.
Yeah.
You can't see any of the wires.
No.
On the Gremlin, and this thing's flying up and down and it's jumping up, and it's always so smooth. That's what I love about it, is that it's gone and there's hardly any sound, because obviously we're inside a plane. But like, it's just these little things. I particularly love after the jump scare where he goes upwards. That's so smooth and frightening. Very, very enjoyable. But yeah, the rain effects and the wing and the darkness and it's completely believable as a plane.
I don't think anything, at least in terms of the plane, felt dated at all.
I feel like you're leading into something, Jay. Comma, but
talking about the Gremlin. And then I felt like that acting was very 50s.
Yeah, I think
at least.
I think there's a lot of nice moments where it shines through. Talking about when Shatner realizes, but there's a lot of when he's. I think it works come the end of the episode, because at that point it's mania.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of earlier points. Well, no, actually, I think it works to the advantage of the episode, because there's that wonderfully darkly comic bit where he goes, "I'm not insane. I don't look insane." And the end of Act 1 break is the gif, the meme of him going, he's got his wide eyes and he's like sweating all of a sudden, even though in the previous moments he wasn't sweating. It's like, oh God. But
there was a few where he was like really sweating, and then it would cut to a close up or something and he would not be sweating.
But all in all, a wonderfully frightening episode as well.
Yes.
Very nice and spooky. Perfect for, well, we're out of Halloween now, but nice and spooky. Yes, I think it's hard to, you're in two camps, I think, with the Gremlin, in that it's hard to remove what the Gremlin looks like from the iconotry. No, from the what's the word I'm trying to where things are like iconotry. Iconography, yeah. It's hard to remove from the iconography of the show and the episode, because it's become so ingrained in popular culture, and the episode has become so iconic itself.
Yeah.
However, it looks pretty dumb, but it's a big effort of the show, the performances, the directing, the effects, as we've talked about, the cinematography. I believe the cinematography for this episode was Robert Pittak, so not George Clements in the earlier, who did all of the earlier series, all of the episodes, or largely most of them. But that we never think about how dumb the Gremlin looks. I want to talk about when we first see the Gremlin. It's that beautiful long shot, and he's coming out of the darkness, and it is terrifying.
That was fantastic.
Mm. And of course, as we've talked about, the rain and the smoke and the wind all adds to it. And I think that's one of the things where I like that he's a panda bear, because the rain gives it this wet, damp, like a damp dog quality. And that's unsettling in itself, and works rather well.
Yeah. I think another thing that works is that because of they were on the plane, like it didn't make any noises. Like it was just silent, like throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
Staring at him.
The closest we get to like a good look is the jump scare, which holds for like a moment longer than we think it will. And he's just at that, and the makeup is sensational. We can make fun of the overall panda suit. I mean, he does look an awful lot like the blowjob bear from The Shining. But the makeup on the face is terrifying and unsettling, and very reminiscent of Eye of the Beholder, the design there, the sort of slightly affected nose and the lips and the curved eyes. Very reminiscent of that makeup design.
Just getting a picture. Yes.
And yeah, let's have a look at some trivia now, Jay. Some trivia. Here's a fun thing. So William Shatner played an elaborate prank on set. I'm just going to read this as it is. When he conspired with a friend who was visiting the filming to trick director Richard Donner into thinking that Shatner had died. Between takes and when Donner was offset getting coffee, Shatner and Burns staged a fake fight on the set, which was suspended some 30 feet above the giant empty tank. When Donner ran back into the studio to see what was happening, the two men chased each other around the back of the airplane set and wound up atop the plane wing. Donner saw a body falling off the wing and Burns yelling in terror as it impacted the concrete floor. Donner said that when he ran to the fallen motionless figure, thinking it was a dead or grievously injured William Shatner, he was greeted with laughter the moment he realized it was just an articulated human dummy. I like the commitment to the bit, William Shatner. The two men had found in another part of the studio and threw off the wing. Donner later joked, honestly, my first reaction was, don't tell me I have to shoot the whole show over again. There's Richard Donner for you there. I think there's just some, I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood taps into this a lot, but like, I'm a big fan of idolizing and, you know, making heroes, I guess, of these directors and actors of that early TV world who were just made of different stuff. Like, you know, they would knock out one of the scariest 25 minutes of all time in 2 days. And this was basically I can't remember. I think they budgeted for 3 days. This was one of the only ones where they'd said that they could do 3 days. I'm saying all of this with a pinch of salt because there's multiple different accounts. But this was one of the original ones where they budgeted for 3 days as opposed to the regular 2 in rehearsal. However, the plane was needed for reshoots on a feature film. So they had to stay on the second day all through the night, and they shot all through the night and went home when the sun came up.
Jesus. That's
Donner's retelling of it. And the fact that it doesn't feel rushed in any way or anything. So let's go straight to, I just, talking about planes, how weird is it watching people smoke on planes?
Yeah, that was weird. I mean, it makes sense, obviously, with the time period, but I was like, oh, that was a thing?
I mean, we have the great line in Airplane, smoking or non-smoking? Smoking. And the answer in the smoking ticket. That's very funny. The first guy in the lift and the flyway, the gremlin. I don't look insane, the pilot's ruse. Okay, here's my idea, because maybe I've got another pitch for a different twist. Because in this version, we stay solely with Bob. And although the pilot gives his wife some pills, we don't know whether or not, I mean, we do because it's the episode and we know how the structure's going. But what if that pilot was being sincere?
Oh, about seeing it? About,
we know what the situation is.
I was wondering when I watched it if that was where the twist was going to go.
I mean, that's another dark pitch, is that there's the real dark nihilistic ending that he pops the window, kills the gremlin, but the plane crashes anyway because the window's sucked and everything and the plane crashes anyway. That's I mean, maybe I'm just a horrible person. I mean, there are plane crashes in Twilight Zone 22, or is it 21? I can't remember. I think it's called 22. And she's like, 22, 22. It's not one of the best. It's not one of
There's
the best.
also the new Twilight Zone.
Well, yes. So this is one of the episodes, as we talked about with the film, this is one of those episodes that gets remade and remade and remade. It was readapted into Nightmare at 30,000 Feet with Adam Scott, who I love Adam Scott.
I actually didn't know that one.
Say again?
I thought that episode was.
It was
right.
Fine. It was yeah. So it was a podcast. It was a podcast, but it was a podcast from the future, and it was talking about how the plane crashes, and it kind of has the ending that I just pitched, where it crashes, and then that's
like,
yeah.
But then they do the thing of, oh, we're going to eat him or whatever. It's like it's like hat on a hat, and it's like, fuck you. And also there's like the gremlin toy that washes up on the beach. And it's like, oh, come on. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan. We've talked about this. Lovely little Serlingism. I love the way he says trespass. Trespass in the Twilight Zone. Trespass.
Yeah.
Trespass. Can you land a plane without a window? There was a lot of suction going on.
Yeah, I don't know. What did they do?
I don't know. Because in Goldfinger, that's how Goldfinger dies. He shoots like the tiniest window in the world, and then Goldfinger like gets sucked out. And the actor playing Goldfinger, for lack of a better way to say it, is a very large man, and that's a very small window. And I don't know about laws of suction and physics, but that's a big man to get through a small window. So obviously I listened to the commentaries with Richard Donner himself, and I just want to like, if I loved Richard Donner before, I really love Richard Donner now. Here are a couple of my favorite Richard Donner things. So I listened to one of the Burgess Meredith commentary tracks, and Burgess Meredith, again, by all accounts, lovely person, but he just would not admit that he was wrong about something. And he's talking to Mark Scott Zickery, wonderful interviewer, wonderful writer, sort of, I mean, he's done a lot of other things in his life, but kind of devoted his life to the Twilight Zone, and his big book, Twilight Zone Companion, is marvelous. Mm-hmm. And he hosts a lot of these interviews. And he did one Burgess Meredith, and he's talking, and Burgess Meredith goes, John Bram won an award for directing this episode. And then Matt Scott Zickery goes, and he doesn't want it because he loves these people and he idolizes them. And so he's like, I don't know about that. He definitely won another award. And then he's like, says the year and the exact award. And then Burgess Meredith goes, no, it won for this one. So, but then in this, the exact opposite. He's talking with Richard Donner. Mm-hmm. And Richard Donner's talking about the plane. And he says, yeah, so I guess the producer must have asked Richard Matheson, we've got a plane, give me a script. And then Scott Zickery goes, well, actually, there was a Richard Matheson short story originally. And he goes, well, that's completely wrong then, isn't it? And then and it's just so humble and wonderful. And my other favorite part is he's in the middle of an anecdote. It's coming up to the first jump scare. And he's just talking about how they had to shoot for that long night. And he's going, and then we had to stay tuned for that. We had to wait and shoot that entire night. And then William Shatner goes over to touch the curtain. And then he just stops talking. There's dead silence. Pulls the curtain. Then he goes, bah! Great. And then he goes back into the anecdote. It's wonderful. I loved Richard Donner before, but I really love him now. And I just think it's so wonderfully directed. I think one of our other favorite shows that we share a love for is, of course, Twin Peaks. And I think, although that obviously I think it can be related to this in many ways, because yes, it has the Serlingism, it has the Lynchian quality. Everything has that wallpaper, but within, you can tell certain directors are directing certain episodes. And obviously in the Twilight Zone, it's more, in particular with the scripts like that. I mean, you can definitely tell what script is by Earl Hamner, because they're all very folksy, and there's like a dog and he's walking down the road. Or there's the voodoo witch one, and they're all very folksy. I can't remember. We're doing an Ilham there, but I can't remember which one. Anyway, and I tried to do every. I've been very selective with my 50 episodes, and we're going to span the world, Jay. The span the world is not a thing that people say. And with Twin Peaks, I think especially later, because season 2 is messy, obviously. But you can really tell. I mean, the most obvious example is you can tell for certain when Lynch is back.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly.
Like the minute it's episode 14 overall, episode 7, the reveal episode with the reveal of the murder, where it opens with Harold Orchid Man's died.
Yeah.
And then it obviously culminates with the Roadhouse and it is happening again. And all of that stuff, you're like, this feels different. Oh, this was directed by David Lynch.
I'm pretty sure it's that episode that opens with like just a really good shot of like the family, and there's a picture of Laura in between Leland and
Madeline.
Sarah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Sarah, and then Maddie's in the middle as well.
That feels really right. Yeah, that does. Yes, because Madeline's gonna go home, isn't she?
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's so good.
I love Twin Peaks. Twilight Zone. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Jay, you really enjoyed your time with it. Let's talk about Christine White. Again, I think she does a really good. I think William Shatner has a very particular acting style.
Yes.
So
sorry.
I think, I mean, famously is very easy to lampoon and very easy to parody. But then when you look at the best of the stuff he's done, you go, oh no, all of these things are for effect. And I think the best examples are earlier. Do you think I'm insane? And the worst example is, of course, the ending, where he literally lifts up in the bed and goes, oh, I don't know about that for now. And then he lays back down. I don't know who told him to rest up, back down, but it doesn't work. And also his hands under the blanket as if he's still got the gun. It's like, is this going to be the ending? He's going to kill everybody? Let's talk about the ending. So he kills the gremlin.
Yeah.
Up until this point, and still up until this point, it's a question of, is it real? Is it not? Is it real? Is it not? And the episode sort of has it both ways. He gets sent away again to the asylum, and then we have this ending of, however, it won't be for long, and that thing of, oh, come tomorrow, everybody's going to know that he's not insane. My question is, are people going to still just say he's insane?
I don't know.
And just say that the thing being ripped up is a circumstance because of the what do you call it? The window being ripped off or something. Nobody's going to say. Considering
it's like late 50s, I could see them saying, "Oh, it's just a coincidence."
Gremlins aren't real. If it was 1984 and everybody had seen the movie Gremlins, then William Shatner's talking. What's that myth about gremlins in planes? Everybody go, oh yeah, Gizmo. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and they'll be like, no, actually, no, I take that back.
Not any water.
Yeah. Oh, lots of water out there. Oh no. Maybe I'm. Somebody take this. I don't care. As long as Joe Dante directs. Gremlins 3 opening up with William Shatner on a plane.
Please, God.
And he looks out and he's a bunch of, how good would that be? Because we're going to get it soon. We're going to get shitty remake Gremlins soon. Red Letter Media, they joked about it. I think it was in the Ghostbusters episode, and they're joking about it.
I think I saw it, yeah.
And it's like, and Zach Bagans, he's the ghost hunter guy. What's his name? What's the Gremlins guy's name? Oh, this is Zach Galligan. That's it. As Billy. Oh, don't tell me the last name. Peltzer. Oh God. And he's going to be like, oh, I'm going to, you know the rules, and it's going to be all like this, and it's going to be all that sort of shit. I love Gremlins. I love Gremlins. Jay, did you like the ending? Were you happy with the ending? Was it satisfying? I've always liked the ending. I like the quality of basically having both endings.
It wasn't my favorite part of the episode, but it was good. It was fine.
Very solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It stuck the landing.
Hey, that's why you're here, Jay. That's for that sort of high quality comedy.
I know. Right.
Well, I don't really have anything else to say about Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. So Ed Kemmer rather, as flight engineer, I think he does a wonderful job. Let's just name check him and Asa Maynor as well. Let's touch on Richard Matheson. So Richard Matheson has wrote many Twilight Zones, as well as, of course, writing the Omega Man, I believe, is the proper title. Of course, more popularly known as is the original book called I Am Legend? Whatever. It's originally called I Am Legend or whatever or something. However, he will write many of the most famous Twilight Zone episodes. Here are the ones that we're going to touch on. We're going to look at Third from the Sun. We're going to look at Nick of Time. We're definitely going to look at The Invaders, of course. We're going to do Death Ship, I believe. We've done Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, and we're also going to do Night Call, a lovely little spooky episode. So we've got a lot more Matheson to come. He unfortunately also passed in 2013. I say also. Nobody else. I mean, loads of people. He's also credited as writing. Is Jaws 3? He's two credited writers on Jaws 3. He's one of them. Oh, that's delightful. And what else was I? Oh my God! Family Guy had an episode called "The Splendid Sauce," which is based on a short story by Richard Matheson.
That's I'm looking as well. That's great.
The other day, I was quoting Romeo and Juliet in a Boston accent, and I went, "Where fart art thou?" And I went, "Oh my God, that's Peter Griffin." It's like, "Where fart art thou, Lois? Where fart art thou?" And I've now been doing that for, I think, a month. Where fart art thou? I guess it's that I'm watching Cheers as well, so there's a lot of Cliff Clavin in there. And Norm, Jay.
Yes.
Next episode, we're looking at The Masks.
The Masks.
We're
okay.
Staying in series 5, I believe. Let me double check that. I don't want to lead our lovely viewers, astray. Before we conclude this episode. Yes, we're looking at The Masks series 5. And then we're going to jump to series 3. So we're hopping all over. What a delightful journey we're on. Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. Any final thoughts, Jay? Delightful.
Yeah, it was great.
Delightful.
Great time.
Better than Gremlins or not better than Gremlins?
No. I mean, it's great, but Gremlins is
king. Gremlins. What is your absolute favorite little part of Gremlins?
Anything involving Gizmo is adorable.
Because I have 2 Gizmos.
Maybe the bit in the kitchen as well, where the gremlin is like attacking that woman in the kitchen.
I love Gremlins so much. Bye, Jay.
Bye.